So what's the biggest problem driving for Postmates? Well, I'll tell you, it's actually different than any other app. That's Grubhub, DoorDash, or Uber Eats. So in this video, I want to compare Postmates with those apps, go over those problems, and of course, tell you how to fix them. But first, let me invite you to our brand new Discord community where you can talk with other drivers in real time. That's linked down below in the description, as well as my Amazon storefront, so you can get the best accessories for your side hustle. So firstly, I want you to understand how these apps work and how Postmates differs. And we're going to highlight those problems and of course, how to solve them. So there's really a few main things as far as how these apps work. Number one, that's how you go online. Is it either a go online and now feature, or is it a scheduling as far as shifts? So there's no scheduling with Postmates. Anyone active on Postmates can go online at any time, and you may be thinking of some problems with that. Number two, that's the order request screen, really the meat and potatoes of what you're looking at as a driver. And what does your screen look like and the info that you're given for these prospective orders? There's really four main sectors to that. It's number one, the restaurant. Where are you going to pick up from? And there's some knowledge and market expertise that you bring with that. Number two, there's miles and or the route that you're going to drive. Number three, there's really the most important thing. There's pay and or any bonuses. And number four, something that I'm just grouping together as other, that's any other features, the number of items that you have to pick up, any batched bonuses, hot zones, things like that. So let's just speak in general about these things and then we'll compare them to Postmates. So number one, the restaurant. Every app is going to give you this as far as, okay, where am I going to pick up from? And this actually matters because the more and more that you drive on these apps, you're going to know, okay, oh, it's a Cheesecake Factory pickup. I can anticipate a wait there and they're usually pretty slammed. Or such and such restaurant, you know they got their act together. They're usually pretty quick and the order is typically ready when you arrive. Secondly, the miles and the route. Again, most every app is going to give you the either estimated miles for the trip and or the estimated route that you're going to take. So firstly, I think you know why it's important to see the miles, right? For business purposes, for tracking, for expenses, right? And then obviously just how many miles you're going to put in your vehicle. But seeing an estimated route as well, that's actually helpful, and let me tell you why. Well, I used to drive in Pittsburgh, PA. Now I'm coming to you from San Diego, California. And seeing an estimated route, that just helps me, I guess, with my vehicle and how hard it's going to be to navigate to make this delivery. Now, if you're in a marketplace with really flat terrain, that doesn't really matter. But for Pittsburgh and parts of San Diego here, that was just good to see. Just giving me an idea, okay, where am I going to actually drive just to take care of my vehicle? Nextly, the pay and the bonuses. Do these apps show you how much you're going to earn ahead of time? So when you get that order request screen, that's what we're looking at here, can you make the business decision? Okay, the miles that I'm given, the pay that I'm estimated to earn, is that worth it? And then lastly, under other, any other information that'll help me make the best decision. For instance, for hot zones, am I near a hot zone? Am I near a hot spot, as it's called on DoorDash? And am I going to finish near an area that has a hot spot? So now, how does Postmates differ? And how does that equate to the hardest parts of driving for Postmates? So again, let's compare here. So the go online feature versus scheduling. Now, Postmates is different than some other apps here. You can only go online immediately. There's no scheduling on Postmates. So problem number one, that is saturation. Again, if anyone and everyone can go online at any time in your marketplace, that may lead to driver saturation. Now, I did a video talking about driver saturation and how to combat that. So if you want to watch that after this video, check the card linked above. But maybe surprisingly, that's not Postmates' biggest problem. Let's look at the hot zones. Now, this one's actually before the order request screen. You'll see these hot zones, darker shaded areas indicate busier zones. But just do remember that doesn't mean you're getting actually more pay. It's just letting you know where it's busy. But even that isn't the biggest problem on Postmates. Let's look at that actual order request screen. So are you given the restaurant? Yes, you are. As I mentioned, really every app gives you the name of the restaurant and it shows the pickup location. Number two, the miles and or the estimated route. Does Postmates give you either the miles or an estimated route? They do not. And here is one of the biggest problems, really one of the hardest things about driving for Postmates, is in essence, you're doing it blind because you don't have that info. So if I asked you, do you know how far you're going to drive, or do you know the route from the starting and the ending destination? Really the best answer to that question is, I think. Because you certainly don't know because you're not given that information on Postmates. Now, if we move on to pay and or bonuses, are you given that on the order request screen? You are not. So not only are you not given the miles and or the estimated route, but you're actually not given an estimate, really anything, as far as how much are you going to earn for completing that delivery. The only caveat is if you're driving on a, in my opinion, very rare per delivery bonus on Postmates, you'll see the bonus, but you're not going to see anything as far as the standard pay on that order. And then others, for instance, Postmates also won't show you the amount of items you're going to pick up. And that's important to you just because some of these orders may be larger. They'll show you the bonus satisfaction as well. So Postmates, I mentioned, they don't have per delivery bonuses. They really just have batched bonuses. You can see here, it says complete a certain amount of deliveries and then you'll be guaranteed a certain amount of pay. But you have to complete that certain amount of deliveries, and then if you don't earn that quoted amount, Postmates will pay the difference, which really equates to not much more in actuality. So those are some of the biggest problems, in my opinion, driving for Postmates. But of course, I don't want to just leave you with the problems. Let's go into how to solve those. Now, there's no way to actually get rid, obviously, of all those problems, but these are my best practices. Let's look at miles. Now, if they're not giving you the miles, they'll actually show the route as a straight line versus an actual predicted route. The best thing you can do is estimate. You honestly have to use your best judgment as far as the starting destination shown and then the ending destination. You have to completely ignore the straight line that really doesn't mean anything on the order request screen. And again, have to use your best judgment. Looking at the pay and the bonuses, I would actually avoid those batched bonuses, the ones that we just mentioned, driving a certain amount of deliveries and then being guaranteed that pay. And here's why. Because if you average out these bonuses, at least from what I've seen here in my experience, they don't equal especially strong per delivery payouts, maybe $4, $5, $6 per order. Now keep in mind, if you pursue one of these batched bonuses, you're basically locked in and committed to that batched bonus because there are time restrictions. You have to complete, I don't know, let's say 7 deliveries in 3 hours or whatever it is. So if you ignore or pass too many of those, you won't even satisfy that batched bonus. So speaking of pay on Postmates, really the only thing you can influence when driving are tips. Now I've seen pretty strong and consistent tips on Postmates from my customers. Now, looking at the numbers, I actually did a video comparing the two and who tips better. So if you want to watch that one, I'll leave that linked above as well. So in my opinion, the best way to use Postmates is really as a backup in this gig economy. I would firstly recommend Uber Eats and or DoorDash. I don't drive for Grubhub right now. I'm trying to get onboarded, but I've heard Grubhub even pays pretty well. So you have 3 options there. And to have Postmates, I would absolutely still sign up for Postmates, especially as the Uber Postmates acquisition is set to close next year, so things may get better. So if you got value in this video, definitely leave a like and do check out that Amazon storefront linked down below for the best accessories. You can click or tap the screen right now for my most recent video, as well as a video recommended for you, and I'll see you in the next one.